Welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. I am Michelle Perkins, your host. I bring you tips, advice, and guest stories about creating work you love. Whatever type of career or business you have or want, I want to help you find more meaning, money, and happiness. Now we are live from Hollywood.
Hello, and welcome to the Limit Free Life Show. It's Wednesday at 1 o'clock. We're here at ubngo.com, and I have a wonderful guest today. We are talking a lot about business and how to, in general, we talk about business and how to be successful in business and in your career and in your life. And we're in such an unusual time right now. And so there are people out there who really have figured out the way to do a fantastic digital business and have just understood from the beginning how to create a business that will bring in the revenue that you need, be sustainable, weather all kinds of storms. And I think it's really important to hear from those people right now, because a lot of people are either starting up new businesses or trying to pivot what they have going on right now. So I have a terrific guest with me today. Her name is Jessica Yarbrough, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jessica. Jessica Yarbrough has quickly developed a reputation of being one of the best business strategists and marketing and sales consultants for entrepreneurs who want to sell high-value products and services. Her background is in international business, and she has built multiple companies. Jessica is a genius at showing entrepreneurs how to build an expert platform, rapidly raise their value, build their credibility online, attract high-paying clients. She travels the world teaching and inspiring entrepreneurs and helping them grow their influence and make the income and impact they desire. Jessica, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. This is a perfect time to have you on. And you have built an impressive business, and I would love for people to hear about it, hear how you created it and what you do, and some of the tips and tricks and thoughts that you have just about business for all of those people right now who are either desperately trying to figure out how to change what they're doing or thinking now's my time to start that business. And so many people are going online right now. So it must feel kind of good actually to already be there and know what you're doing.
Yes, it does. And I feel like if you were just starting your business or struggling, that, this is a trying time for you. Because if you were struggling in an economic boom, then you may continue to struggle in an economic downturn. So if what you were doing wasn't working before, you definitely should change that now. And for those people that were already having success, now incredible doors of opportunity are opening for you to gain market share, grow your business, really go to the next level. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's definitely an interesting time. Would you mind just starting from the beginning and telling our listeners, what you've built and what your journey was a little bit, why you built it? And then we're going to come back to some of the discussion about, the times we're in now.
Sure. Well, my background was in business. I actually managed multiple companies. I ended up building a startup company here in San Diego, and I was really proud of it. But in that process, I felt like a deep longing for something more in my life. Part of that was travel and self-discovery. And, the stress of that company and building it so quickly really led to my spiritual awakening or nervous breakdown, depending on the audience. And I ended up walking away from the company that I had built and selling everything I owned. And I bought a one-way ticket to Southeast Asia. And I spent 4 years traveling the world. I became a yoga teacher. I didn't think I was ever going to go back into business world. And it was one of the most enriching experiences of my life, my own eat, pray, love journey, so to speak.
I was just going to say, that's so great.
Yeah. And this is a long time ago. Then I ended up coming back to the US and getting pregnant with my daughter. She's now almost 6. I became a single mom. I've raised her all on my own while building this company. And, I was at that fork in the road where it was like, hey, of course I can keep teaching yoga. That's fun, but it doesn't really pay the bills. Not when you talk about raising a child, or I can, tap into that genius around business that I've always had, that I kind of put to the side for 4 years, and build my own consulting company. And that's what I did. And it was the hardest years of my life when she was a little baby and trying to make it. But it's really incredible to be on, have realized my vision, and to be on the other side of all the discomfort and of expansion and business building, growth, and newborn teething and all the other stuff.
Right. Well, in 6 years, I mean, that's a very, really a very quick, turnaround time for what you've been doing. So I would say congratulations on that. So you could easily have given us a bigger number of years that have gone by. How did you decide to go from yoga teacher into what you're doing now?
Well, I always had a knack for marketing. I've always had an ability to go into any company that I worked at and make it better. Always brought in money immediately, whether that was new product sales or getting rid of things or collections on past due accounts. Like, I just always had that ability to that around strategy, especially when it comes to revenue generation. I said, let me just pick up whatever marketing consulting work I could get. And that's what I did in the beginning. And I remember when my daughter was a newborn baby, and I just had to set her down and walk outside, as many moms have to do when they're freaking out and you just need a moment for as a mom. And I remember it being a very emotional time for me, where I kind of threw my hands up to the sky and with tears rolling down my face said, "Hey, God, universe, who's ever listening, if this is what you want me to do, if the consulting is what you want me to do, I need some help here." And within a week or two, I landed my biggest consulting gig. No website or social media presence or anything like that. And that set me on the course of building my international training company that I have today.
Nice. Can you tell us a little more about what your company offers?
Yeah, so we focus on helping entrepreneurs who have hit that ceiling. Maybe some people come to us making 75 or 100,000. Some people come at 350, 500. Some people come at 7 figures, and they're ready to go to that next level. And so we help, streamline what they're doing, take things off their plate, raise their prices, get rid of any kind of complexity, simplify to scale their business to the next level.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I love simplifying to scale. I think that's the way it works best, but it's not naturally the way people go. So, right. Yeah. So, well, I want to ask you, because I don't want to forget this question, but what are you excited about right now as we see, how businesses are needing to adapt and change?
Yeah, well, I love that people who kind of said, "Oh, I'm just going to do in live event model or whatever," they're having to embrace what I've been saying all along, which is it's great to have those. I run 6 live events a year, but you need a strong online presence. And I've always been a big proponent of that. One, because I like location freedom. I've lived in 4 different countries. When COVID's not happening, my daughter and I travel around the world, drug her everywhere. And, events require you to be present in a city and all of that. And so some of the myths are that you have to have these events where you bring people in and then you upsell them. And it's a model. It's great. But I know that I've been able to make a ton of money right from the comfort of my home or my laptop. And so that's what I want to show people. You can have that, and that way you have that security. And then the live events is not something you're solely dependent on, because we can't put all our eggs in one basket. So that's one big one. And then other things is growing my team right now. It's a really, really good time to be investing in your business. If you have the money, invest in your business right now.
That's a great piece of advice, actually. Yeah. And why do you say that? Just for people who might be confused.
Well, what's fascinating is that so many people actually have the money right now, but they're caught in fear. They could be making $80,000 to $300,000 a year, but they're like, "Oh, there's so much uncertainty and I just don't know." And, yes, there's strategy, but whatever you focus on is going to become true in your life. And I cannot stress the power of mindset enough. Now, I'm not sitting there rubbing crystals together, not doing the work, saying, hey, it's all going to come to me. You take action, but know that whatever you're thinking, your mind is going to start to find things to affirm it. So if you're like, the sky is falling, the world is ending, there's no opportunity, then that's what you're going to see. But if you're like, no, I want to work with growth-minded people. I want to grow my business. I want to buy businesses right now. I want to expand my team. I want to ramp up my sales and marketing. You're going to start to put off that vibe and attract those kinds of people, and you'll start to see more and more opportunity around you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for talking about mindset. I mean, every day I think I get a new message or I hear some new story about how much a person's mindset shifts have changed whatever it is that they are doing and the results that they're getting. And it is just, it's everything. It's so fascinating because I went to business school. You went to business school. Nobody's talking about mindset in business school. And I worked in large companies, big corporate environments for 15 years. I don't think that word was ever mentioned, so maybe it was the time, or maybe it's just such an amazingly important thing that you don't learn about until you maybe enter the world of coaching or, some other way of teaching.
And it's a disservice to humanity because personal development isn't taught in our schools. Mm-hmm. It is introspection, self-inquiry isn't taught. It's kind of like follow the rules, do these things, don't question authority, mm-hmm. Sit in your seat, be still, be quiet. It's very, very interesting, the dynamic of our school system. And what a lot of people don't realize is that all of these beliefs and I'm not even a mindset coach. It just comes up in every single week with my clients. They are programmed to us at a very young age. And I've seen women who will kill themselves to make money. I've seen women self-sabotage and not because deep down, they didn't believe they should or were worthy enough to make more than their husband. Mm-hmm. I mean, all kinds of things play out, whether you realize it or not. Your belief systems drive every single thing you do in life. Mm-hmm. And that's why you need someone outside of you to give you a swift kick in the rear and say, stop self-sabotaging. I know what you're doing. You're going to say it's this, it's not. Go do the thing right now to push you outside of your comfort zone and actually towards the success that you say you desire.
Yeah, that was beautifully put. So because you're helping people up level and mindset is so important, what are some of the barriers that you see that people, who work with you have?
Self-worth. And it's part of the reason why I don't work with newbies anymore. And it's not that I can't help them. Of course I can help them. I've helped many newbies. It's just that it's a much more laborious task to try to get someone to believe that they're worthy of charging anything, or it's just a different energy to it. And it's like pulling teeth sometimes. And so I don't want to do that work anymore. Okay. I work with people who they've done it, they've invested, they've got it, they've made some money. So that belief system doesn't sabotage them to the degree it would as a new person, where it's just so much of their stuff's coming up. But we still do work on the self-worth, because most of the time people come to me, we are 4 to 10xing their prices. So we're working on the next layer, but they already know that they're worthy on some level because they're already investing. So that's one area would be self-worth for sure.
But then there's always a new level to get to and a new kind of expansion of your sense of self-worth. So there's still work to do, but
always work. Well, what I want to tell people is, because some people will say, well, if I struggle with selling a $5,000 package, how on earth am I going to turn around and sell a $50,000 package? And that's what I help them do. And part of it is understanding that what we're doing in the process of building your business is we're creating a new reference point for your reality. Right. And when you have sold a $50,000 program, you've created a new reference point. And so for you to say, I'm going to sell a $100,000 program, it's such an easier jump. And so that's what people need to understand is you're only limited by what you believe you've done in the past. And so we have to continue to up level. It's why I have a mindset energy person as part of my curriculum, who coaches my clients outside of me, because I know they need extra support in that department, and allows them to thrive and grow their business without those constraints.
Nice. Okay. I love that. So you've got the mindset part of it, as well as the more strategic, and tactical kind of steps. So from what I see, you're helping people to attract in higher paying clients, basically. So what does that mean exactly for people?
Well, so what happens is there is a ton of people emerging in the coaching industry, and the most saturated market is start your own coaching business and, retire on a beach somewhere, sipping margaritas, working on the beach in your laptop. And this is where it's just like so easy to get sucked into and think that this is who I need to serve, or this is how I need to be. And so you have a lot more lifestyle kind of energy to your messaging. And I get it, because I think I got sucked into that as well. Mm-hmm. But what I do is I work with experts, and typically my clients have come from the corporate world. Mm-hmm. So they have a real business strategy sense, and mm-hmm. they're used to playing, like they've worked with big contracts. They haven't sold for themselves maybe, or to that level, but that's, I have people who are like executive and leadership professionals, people who work with 10 to $500 million companies as clients. I mean, it's a range, right? But they really understand business, and they're not, it's a disservice for them that have a genius up here to try to dumb down their stuff to market to people who maybe work at a coffee shop and took a life coaching certification over the weekend and now want to have a 6-figure coaching business.
Right.
That's a misalignment. And so we have to take your genius and position it in the marketplace where it's going to be well received, where you are using your skills, your God-given gifts to the best of your abilities, and where people get you. Like, you're not dumbing yourself down, and they have the means to pay for it.
Nice. And how do you position yourself for that?
One, you got to get away from just the lifestyle marketing and, build an expert authority business. And that's the core of my Expert Accelerator program. You want to specialize and not be a jack or Jill of all trades. Specialization is always in demand. Yeah. One of the pillars that I teach my clients and I built my business was around teaching. Experts teach. They're not just trying to sell you something.
Right.
The lifestyle people are just kind of selling you something. Real experts are saying, let me give you some insight, and I'm just going to blast it on live stream to you. And that's going to start to attract the right people into your network and into your funnel.
Yeah, very interesting. I think it's interesting, the two buckets, the lifestyle folks and then the more expert authority folks, because there's good marketing on by all of them, and so certainly you do kind of you can get very sucked in. But I like the differentiation that you've presented here with that.
And to your point, there are some people I know, I can name 6 of them, that are very effective at the lifestyle, and they are with the cars and the bathtubs of money or whatever, right? Yeah. And that's works for some people. It's just that for a lot of people it doesn't, and it's not aligned. And so when they try to do that, like me and a tub of money would not be congruent with who I am. Right. Like, I love nice things and all of that. It's just not, that wouldn't feel good to me. Mm-hmm. So when you see these people and you're like, they have success, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm going to have copycat syndrome, which is what we see. Right. Then you actually aren't going to achieve the success, because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And by the way, those people are kicking butt and taking names and working their butt off, just like their business owner. But you're going to, you dilute who you are, and that inauthenticity is going to come out in all that you do, and you will drown in a sea of noise rather than being a beacon of light and rising as the expert using the gifts that you have.
Oh, I love that. I love the way you're articulating all of this. So what, for somebody to go into this and want to be an expert, how do you hear sometimes, yes, I know a lot about this, but who's going to think of me as the expert? There's 10 other people that I can name quickly who are bigger and better experts. What do you, because I think, that comes up for people, and there are people who are just amazing at what they do who still don't really feel like they could step into that expert space.
Yeah, I mean, it comes up a lot. It's the imposter syndrome. And one of the ways I break through that belief is I ask them about some of the biggest achievements they've had in their life. And oftentimes you'll have someone, who's maybe they've charged $200 an hour for coaching, and turns out at their corporate job that they were able to uncover, 3 million in lost revenue and do X, Y, and Z. Okay. So that's worth more than $200 an hour.
Right.
And so when you reflect that back to them, it doesn't take long for their eyes to light up and be like, holy crap, I'm playing small. Or I know my competitor charges 7 figures a year for their program. Why am I charging 5,000? This is, and they see it themselves. And so when you first point that out, they get it. And then the next phase of that is actually helping them build a strategy around positioning and messaging so that they feel confident to go out there and sell at a higher level.
Right. Okay. Would you mind sharing a few tips around positioning and marketing? Because that really is, mindset is so important. And the other thing that I think a lot of people don't recognize is how important the marketing is. Even if you are, the biggest expert out there, there's still a lot of marketing that has to happen, and that's tricky.
Yeah. I always say that the majority of business owners that fail don't do so because, their service is bad or they're not a good human. They fail because they are unable to effectively communicate their value in the marketplace. So they're out there posting on social media. No one is picking up what they're putting down, and they run out of runway before ever even taking off. So your messaging matters. It is so important. So we have to understand, and this is where working with a strategist is really helpful, how to enter the conversation that's already happening in your prospect's mind. I want people to say, which they do on my applications, like, are you tapping my phone? What's going on? This is literally what I'm thinking. All of the above. Yes, yes, yes. That's what you want. And if you don't have that kind of feedback from your audience, then you have a messaging issue. And that's something we have to address right away.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So do you help people with that? Is that your specialty?
It's one of my core specialties. So I help people identify kind of what is their zone of genius, create their messaging, their packaging, and their positioning around it, and then bring that to market to scale.
Yeah. It's very hard for people to do that on their own. I mean, talking about yourself is very hard in marketing yourself. It doesn't matter if you're, an amazing salesperson of anything or anybody else.
Yes. And we all need someone outside of ourselves. So the two kind of support people I have in my program are the mindset energy person and a professional copywriter who comes in and does monthly audits, because I can teach all I want, but they need other people kind of doing the, quality control and just giving that extra level to make sure that their messaging is on point. So I've tried to really build in everything I can in the weakest spots that I find entrepreneurs in, which is around messaging and around mindset.
Okay.
And when you get those right, then you're going to have clients come to you. They'll be they'll be the right people. You're not wasting your time.
Goodness. Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
I actually don't know how to turn all these little ringers off on my computer. So sorry.
Yes. No, it's all good. So when you are able to do this effectively, you're going to have people coming to you. You're going to have the right people coming to you, which is key, who are going to be informed, already enrolled in who you are as a person and ready to buy. And that's key for the success of any business.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. And what about sales? Do you help with that as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because that is also tricky for, again, you can be an expert, but you have to sell your services. And that's difficult.
Well, there's five areas. So sales is the last thing that we work on. So we're we're doing the positioning and messaging, packaging, and audience creation, because you have to have an audience of people to buy from you. And then we're working on sales, and that's really understanding how to hold that powerful container of an enrollment conversation, understanding what not to say, having the courage to ask for the sale, all those things that, it's the last piece. The thing I love about this methodology, though, is so many people want to teach sales, but they don't have all the pieces. And so what you do is you have maybe you get on a call with some desperate person who has a few thousand left in their bank account, and they're banking on you to save their life. And you don't have any marketing, and you're like on the phone with this person, like, what am I supposed to do with this? Yeah. So the marketing allows you to attract in, again, the right people. Cause I don't want to help someone on their last,
right.
That's not who I market to. But if I can attract the right people who already are at a certain, who have the discretionary income and are serious about scaling a business, if I can educate them before they get on a call, they're going to come ready to buy. And that is much more powerful than trying to use NLP or something else in a conversation to convince people that aren't, quite frankly, a fit to buy, which is not a good scenario. And it happens all the time.
Okay. Yeah. So interesting. So you take them through this whole process of basically business building to get them to that next level.
Exactly. We've got to build these 5 pillars that are really the foundation of any expert business. And that's what allows you to attract in those high paying clients. Once we dial in the marketing, we've got it 80% there because it's always kind of a moving target.
Right.
Then we can start to build in back-end systems, delegate to team members, and scale your business to as high as you want.
Okay. That's a great business model. I love it. And I'm sure the people you work with are really exciting people to work with. I mean, the people who are ambitious and driven to get to that next level and smart and expert. So that's, and I'm sure that was hard for you too, to kind of narrow it down and say, I'm not going to work with all these people who may have been asking you to work with them. And I think that's tough sometimes. But
it is. I mean, I still, everybody around you is, kind of they have more of a scarcity mindset, and they'll be like, you're leaving money on the table and all of that. I prefer, and I just reached out to a guy who had asked me for a consultation. I refer out. I would rather stay in my zone of genius than try to bring someone into my program that isn't ready, because that's just going to pull down on the energy of the group. And if I have clients in my program that specialize in helping newbies, they're very good at it and they love it, then why not pass them to those students? I know they've got a great teacher, and that what they're going to teach them is sound business practice. Right. So yeah, I believe stick in your zone of genius. It takes far less energy, and you'll get the right people in your programs, which is really important. The energy around the participants is very important.
Right. And what do you say to people with what's going on now who feel uncomfortable, kind of not either discounting their fees or just, doing all kinds of things just because people are having a tough time. And so it gets less comfortable maybe to, command the same fees that you were.
Well, I always ask people this: would you rather on one client that pays you $50,000 a year, or 10 clients that pay you $5,000?
Yeah.
And every single client is more energy. So yes, you could wheel and deal and grab, clients from all over and have all of that kind of drain your energy. Or you can say, no, I'm going to hold myself to a high standard. This is who I help. Less is more. That's the foundation of what I teach. It's about quality over quantity. It's not a membership model, course creation where we need tons of volume. It is a low volume, ultra high ticket business model. That's what I teach. There's other models and there's nothing wrong with them, but people come to me because they want to get rid of things and they want to make more, work with fewer people. And that's why they come into my program.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's great. So, and do you have, it's one program and one ideal client, basically. So how do you, how do you feel about the idea of multiple revenue streams and all those things that people are talking about right now to kind of just add some layers of security?
Well, I have one methodology and I have multiple programs, and the greater the access and kind of my personal hand in your business, the higher the price point of the program. So I have more of like my elite inner circle who are making a lot more money. So they're in a mastermind together. And then I have people who are trying to get to the first like $200,000. But beyond that, I actually do have other income streams. I have a little engagement thing that I run that provides residual income. It's I don't do anything. It's totally hands off. My assistant runs it. I have affiliate commissions off of product support because I only push products that I personally support and have vetted. So those are coming in every month. So there's always money flowing in different sources, but I'm not building something that requires me to something else that requires me managing it. It's kind of there and it's residual.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So you can still, be in a very specialized area with a very particular type of client that you work with and still have, many things going on and deliver the services in multiple ways and things like that. So,
yeah, the thing you have to be careful of is if you have the membership, you have something that requires more of your time. So if you're charging $27 a month and you're having to live stream all the time and you have this constant thing of people coming in, like that's a lot of energy. So if you're going to create some sort of passive income, make sure it is actually passive. That it's something you set up once and it's done. That to me is truly passive income. A lot of people, what they consider passive income is not. It requires way too much energy. And quite frankly, when you do the math, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Did you discover that? Or did you just know that?
No, I went through the very painful process of discovering all this because I started kind of billing hourly. Then I got into high ticket. It was amazing. But then I got sucked into course creators and internet marketers who were like, there's a better way. And I started perpetually launching, which is exhausting. I even created a course around launching, and I had big wins. I'd launch something and make 18,000 here, 30,000 here. So like chunks of money, like significant. But I was exhausted. And I thought, I don't want to create another job for myself. I don't want to constantly be launching something new. And I deleted 20 funnels and I streamlined everything. And I said, this is my core methodology. I'm very clear on my methodology. This is what works. This is what I teach. I ditched everything out to the side. And then this is what I'm going to focus on creating, because oftentimes we give our power over to all of these other people who are trying to sell us stuff. So we're like, oh, I'm missing out. Shiny object. And it's like, just build what you want. What do you want? I know I don't want to work with thousands of clients.
Oh, that's the best message ever. Build what you want, because there is a lot. I mean, the world's wide open and, on one hand, that's good. On the other hand, it's kind of like the wild, wild west, because there's gold here, there's silver here. You just don't know what to do with yourself. So, and it all looks good and people can make it all look very attractive. But I think the energy, comments are really important, because people don't realize when they get into it, the kind of energy it takes to, even just to work with one-on-one clients. I mean, it's fun, but if you're dedicated and you throw yourself into it, and that goes for therapists, that goes for a lot of people. And, so managing that energy and finding ways to make that work so that you're not, they're doing great and you're just completely drained at the end of the day. That doesn't really work well.
And that happens a lot. I mean, so many people come to me and they've got, 7 different programs. And, one of my clients, she had 7 different programs, came to me. It was January and she literally said, I am done. Like she was tapped out. She got all these people she had to serve. Well, we got rid of 5 of the programs, focused on 2, raised the value, got rid of 30 or 40 clients. And she made more, and she was already successful, very successful, made more in 6 weeks than the entire previous year combined.
Wow.
By simplifying, right? Simplifying and saying, this is what I want to do. You get to design it. Many business owners end up creating another job for themselves.
Right.
That's not what we're here to do.
Well, and oftentimes, we build things and then we don't really let go of anything because, even if it's not really bringing in all that much or doing that much for us, we keep it around. And so, like you say, all of a sudden you have 40 things you could get rid of, which, so that's really the strategic part of it is to be paying attention to that all the time. And so, so even though you're delivering a lot of, wonderful service and material and everything else, how do you step away and, be the entrepreneur and the visionary in your business? Do you have a method for how you spend time with that?
Well, I always want to make sure that I have time to dream. It's something I work with my clients on, because so often we're in doing mode that we take away our most powerful source, which is our source of inspiration and creativity. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have time to dream, you cannot innovate. Mm-hmm. And so, putting boundaries around your time, learning, especially one of the hardest things to do is to let go of control of things, delegate, trust. You don't need to manage that. It's not going to be perfect all the time, but the only way that your team's going to learn is if you allow them to make the mistakes. You don't want a situation where you're becoming like the delegator all the time and they're just saying, hey, keep me busy. You want them to take initiative, and so that you can experience that freedom. So it's a process, learning those skills, and then making sure you're taking care of yourself, meditation, yoga, massage. I'm big on self-care, getting into nature, like recharging your batteries.
Right. And do you have that scheduled pretty well? Are you one of those people who lives by your schedule? How do you make that work?
I do. I'm a scheduler, and, I have my end of day is my best time. And that's only because I have, a daughter, and she's up in the mornings, and before that is my most creative time. So I'm doing a lot of writing and thinking when it's quiet here. But I do yoga, or I go out, work or go in nature every single day. Nice.
That's fantastic, because you are busy. And so for so many people who just cannot make that happen because they're just, there's always more work to do. So you just, and there is always. And I think that's a trick too, when you are an entrepreneur, to find a way to have an end of day. It's very easy to just keep working all the time.
It is. And it's a habit that it's very easy to slip into. And so, it's not something I would say is always easy and natural to me, but you have to be disciplined, because otherwise you can't recharge. And I know when I actually take a weekend off, and I mean, really take a weekend off, I am so ignited come Monday. Yeah. But if I don't, I kind of halfway work through the weekend,
right,
and I get sucked into work and the stress of it, and I'm not fully present with my life and my daughter and all of that, I'm exhausted come Monday, and that's not a good place to be either.
Right. Yeah, I've experienced that quite a bit as well. And I find even now I'm getting a lot done because I'm home and I'm not distracted by all the millions of places I could drive and all the things I'm saying yes to that I can't say yes to now. And it's definitely allowed me to focus more, but it also makes it easier to work longer, which is, it's fine, but getting out in nature is really better. So, so what would you tell people who are contemplating, maybe they've been laid off, maybe they're thinking of not going back to work? I mean, how quickly, provided they are, have some expertise and are listening to you thinking that's really the direction I want to go, what would you say to them in terms of what to expect?
I would say go for it. Make a list of 100 people that the people most likely to buy from you in the beginning are going to be the people that and start reaching out. And you don't have to have it all figured out. You could do a small package. You could say, hey, I'd love to work with you. I'd love to manage your social media. I'd love, I'm trying to build my business and get testimonials. I'm going to give you a special pricing on this, but, start to reach out and offer your services. To me, this is the fastest path and the easiest business to build, because you don't have to go learn drop shipping. You don't have to have an audience so that you can become a masterful affiliate marketer. You're literally taking your innate gifts and leveraging the power of your network and being of service. And I guarantee you, like right now, I tell you, I'm hiring a content creator. So if anybody watching it understands how to curate content, reach out to me. I'm hiring a community manager for one of my groups. So there's 2 people right there. And I'm hiring a salesperson in June. So nice. There's opportunity. There's like 3 people right there that I need, and I'm just one business owner. So there's always opportunity. Again, it's what you decide to focus on.
Right. And have you felt any slowdown from the COVID-19 event?
Yeah, I mean, luckily my business is stabilized. So, and prepared for these times, I definitely immediately felt the lead quality just kind of, it stopped for a week, and then it was very low quality. I think just some very people who really need help, but definitely don't have the means to do it. And that was for about 2 weeks. And then after that, it started flowing and the high quality leads came back in again.
Nice.
Some people are more hesitant right now to invest, but again, I'm not one for convincing and pushing. And it's like, you're either ready or you're not. Cause
Yeah, I love that.
You got to be all in, or you're going to get a quarter of the results if you're lucky.
Right.
When they're ready, they can come on board and we'll rock it together.
Oh, I love that. That's a great, I just like that attitude and energy. So what was my question going to be? Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And for people who are thinking about it, would you say now's a good time? What would you, I remember what the question I wanted to ask you. When you're reaching out to people to let them know what your services are or what you can offer them, are you doing it by phone? What are you doing? Are you picking up the phone? Are you getting on?
Yeah, if you can get on the phone, I would just message them and say, hey, John, I'd love to have like 15 minutes of your time. I'm really like excited about some things that I'm working on right now. Can we chat? Mm-hmm. And just try to book a call with them and fill out what do they need, and kind of have a list of things that you can provide in your mind, and you'll be able to tailor it to them. And to answer your question before, the best time to start, like, is now a good time? Yes. The best time, no matter what is happening, is the best time to start is now. Yeah. Like, get off your butt. Don't go to your grave with a bunch of regrets. I shoulda, woulda, coulda, when I have more, when I know more, when I make more, when I get a raise, when I have a baby, like, just stop. Yeah. I'm a single mother who did it, raising a newborn completely on my own at the rock bottom. It is always the right time. You have to make the conscious decision that you are going to do it. And you have to say, I commit. That's the problem. People don't commit. Right. I commit to making this happen. And when you make a commitment and you take action on it immediately, you will not fall prey to the Lodi, law of diminishing intent, which says, we make a good intention, we don't commit. So we just put it on the back burner. And the more time that passes, the less likely it is to happen. And you go another year without pursuing the dream seed that was planted and started to emerge within you. So don't waste time. Take action now, every day. Now.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree. I mean, what's happening externally, there's ways to adapt to that. So you can still start, and maybe you'll do some things differently than you would have, but starting is big, and commitment and making that decision. So yeah. So if somebody is interested in getting to know you better or working with you, do you want to just tell people what you have coming up and how to contact you?
Yeah, definitely check me out at jessicayarbrough.com. You can read about me and my case studies, a little bit more about the methodology. I'll share a link to my high-end sales mastery class. So if you ever are curious, like, how do you close $10,000, $25,000, $50,000 deals on the phone? That's a really cool 20 or 30-minute training, I think, that I put together. You can also follow me on Facebook, and I'm big on LinkedIn. I'm there every day.
Yeah, I've seen you on LinkedIn, and I wanted to ask quickly about that too, because I have people telling me, well, there's nothing going on right now, no point in being on LinkedIn. I think there's always a point of being on LinkedIn, and you can always be broadening your network, and you're on there a lot. Do you want to tell people a little about how you use it, just quickly?
Oh, wow. LinkedIn is by far my most profitable platform. It took me a while to adopt it. I was on Facebook because obviously Facebook is more enjoyable. It's more user-friendly. LinkedIn's clunky. It's Microsoft. I mean, but I will tell you what was so validating was I help my inner circle members join me twice a year for a really high-end, luxurious retreat. And I was sitting in a mansion around the dinner table, and I looked around at all the people that paid me the most money that I charged to work with me. Every single person came from LinkedIn.
Wow.
And if that's not impressive validation enough.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So right. It's powerful.
Yeah. Okay. And you can be found on LinkedIn for those listening, also doing a lot of live interaction with people, or, videos. You've got some, it'd be better if you explain it. I've found you on there and listened to you, and that's been great. But so are those webinars you're doing on LinkedIn? What exactly?
Yeah, so I live stream on LinkedIn every single week. I put out nice, high-res, thorough documents on how to build your business. I produce video content where I'm teaching, like literally my entire newsfeed is a trail of value-based content. So feel free there to come there and consume it. Feel free to hit the connection request and just let me know you heard me on Michelle's show, because I don't accept everyone. And if you follow my content, you'll learn why it's so important around your audience building strategies, especially on LinkedIn. So send me a little message and let's get to know one another.
Well, that's a very nice offer. Yeah. And I've really enjoyed listening to you on LinkedIn. So I think people should do that. You'll come away with a lot of wonderful content and good business advice. So, well, this has been great. I'm really impressed by everything you've done, and I'm sure the listeners are too. And I think if you want to learn how to do what you're doing, which is wonderfully, it's not easy, but it is wonderfully simple in its approach, and also really profitable sounding. So I think that's an excellent way for people to go. I think it's kind of the courageous way to go. It is in some ways easier to do the lower ticket, high volume kind of business, but you're proving that this is a great option for people, and one where you can also enjoy your life and your children and everything else while you're enjoying a wonderful business. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on today. And it was a pleasure talking to you. And I'm so glad that we met on LinkedIn, and look forward to hearing more.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you, listeners. So glad that you're here. I want to make an apology for my face being in and out of the sun, and sometimes it's completely gone and sometimes it's there. So thank you for putting up with that. And love having you here on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, UBN Radio, ubngo.com. You can see us here. You can see us on Facebook and the Limit Free Life YouTube channel. And then you can hear us on all the podcast platforms, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, everything else. And please reach out to me as well if you have any comments or questions, or want to connect about your career, your business, your money. You can reach me at michelle@limitfreelife.com. And we'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Make it a great week and go after that career you love.